What can parents do to really set them up to succeed and to navigate all these challenges that they're facing?
First, and perhaps the most important thing parents could do, if they could only do one thing, it's to build loving, meaningful relationships with their kids. Studies show, and again, this is a study from Vern Bankston in his Oxford University Press book. I think it was about 2013 if it came out, so a few years ago. But it was based on 35 years, 3,500 people, 4 generations of faith transmission. And in his book, Faith in Families, he says the number one statistical factor in faith transmission is a, quote, warm relationship with the father. Now, that doesn't mean the mother's unimportant. The reality is the father tends to be more of a wild card. But if you care about passing on the faith with your kids, you've got to build a relationship with your kids. My dad said to me, it's one of the best things I think he's ever said. He said, rules without relationships leads to rebellion. Rules without relationships leads to rebellion. So step one is build a relationship with your kids. Number 2, take a hard look inside and ask yourself, how am I living my life? Is my life captivating? Do my kids want the kind of life that I have? Do I prioritize money, my profession, something else over the kingdom of God? Then guess what? Our kids are going to listen to what we do, not what we say. So build a relationship with our kids, look in the mirror first, and then third, just have intentional conversations with kids. I do this to my kids all the time about movies. I'll give you a couple examples. When the movie Bohemian Rhapsody came out a few years ago, my son was like, I think he was 13 or 14, and it was PG-13, so I was a little concerned, looked into it, I was like, I'll take my son. He was really interested in it. I said, buddy, I'll take you and a friend, I'll pay for everything. If when we're done, we just come back and talk about it. I just want to know what you think. We go to the movie, come back, sit down at the dinner table, probably a half an hour, and we just talked about it. Hey, what'd you enjoy? As Christians, what can we affirm? Are there any things in the movie that gave you pause, you felt you were being preached at? We just talked about it. That's how you pass on a faith to kids. My last book, not this one, I gave to my daughter, but it's the same 30 chapters on a cultural issue that was on sexuality. I told my daughter, who's now 15, I said, if you read this and just give me feedback and go to coffee with me and we talk about it, I'll buy you a pair of shoes. And in my family, we like shoes, maybe too much. And she goes, Dad, there's a outlet down the mall. I can get 2 for the price of 1. I was like, you can get 3 for the price of 1. So she reads the book. We went to coffee, I don't know, hour and a half. And I just asked her, hey, what was your favorite chapter? Did you learn anything different about your dad? Is there anything you differed with me on? What do you think about this chapter? How far do you think is too far? And my daughter and I had this conversation, went and bought her, I don't know, a pair of Vans and maybe a pair of Converse. I don't even remember. The point is, build relationships with your kids. Model in your life and intentionally have meaningful spiritual conversations with your kids. And statistically, you put yourself in the best position to pass on your faith to them.
Really, really helpful guidance on how we can go about doing that. It's not easy, but it's not overly complicated. The way in which that we go about those things. And shocker of all shockers, read the Bible with your kids, pray with them, take them to church, build relationships, loving relationships. It's almost like those things were written for us a long, long time ago, and we just have to be faithful in doing them.